Tonight, students get something they didn't expect at lunch today.
Plus, we'll hear from Troy Symphony. Stay tuned. Troy TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for October 16, 2013. I'm Courtney Addison.
And I'm Judson Garner. Thanks for joining us this evening.
When it's time to take your lunch break, you expect to go grab a bite to eat and maybe catch up with a few friends. But today, students who ate lunch around 12:30 in Saga were in for a surprise. Wednesday's lunch break was just like any other day, or at least that's what most students thought. But little did they know they were getting a tiny preview of Troy University's Department of Theater and Dance's latest musical, The Single Girls Guide. That was the start of about a 2.5-minute flash mob the cast performed of one of the main numbers from the show. The flash mob was part of the advertising aspect of the musical, and some cast members agree that the best way to spread talk about the show is to use their live theater skills to give students a little sample.
There's nothing like seeing it happen, so we thought, why not just bust up in somebody's lunch hour and just do it? Just give them a little piece, get them interested, and hopefully they'll come and see it. This is what we do, is perform, and live theater is why we're in school. You know, we're theater majors, and so we're like, why not, try to get everyone pumped up by giving them just a little taste of what we do on stage.
No way to express what you want to see besides doing it and performing it, so we thought that a flash mob would be the best idea. It would get people's attention.
Performing a flash mob can be a little intimidating, but for two of the performers, the beginning is their favorite part.
My favorite part about the flash mob is when the hush kind of gets quiet over Saga, because it's kind of like the audience, like opening night. Everyone's faces when I stood up on that table, they were like, no! Yeah, everyone's reaction to what are you doing?
And what did one student think of having her lunch interrupted by people singing and dancing on tables?
I was wondering what was going on, but then everybody kind of joined in, and then it was pretty cool just seeing how they all interacted, and everybody kind of got quiet and started watching them to see what was going on.
And last night, I had the chance to watch dress rehearsal and chat with a few of the performers. So tune in tomorrow night for a closer look at the Single Girls Guide. Tickets are $5 with a student ID and are on sale now. And they can be purchased at the box office or ordered online at troytheater.org.
And while the theater department was sharing some tunes in the dining hall today, last night, Troy Symphony Band had some music of their own to share with the Claudia Crosby audience. Lloyd Price has the details.
Tuesday night in Claudia Crosby Theater, the Troy University Symphony Band put on their fall concert titled Masterworks. The Troy University Symphony Band is conducted by Dr. Mark Walker, and the band's 65 members are the top wind and percussion students in the John M. Long School of Music.
This is our top auditioned ensemble. We have several other concert bands and marching bands and groups, but this is our top concert group.
Songs performed at Tuesday's concert included Colonial Song, Fanfaronade, Music for Prague, Overture for Winds, and Rocky Point Holiday.
I like the intensity and the drama of Music for Prague. I like the beautiful melodies in Rocky Point Holiday and Colonial Song. I like Fanfaronade because we commissioned that, and it's filled with really nice tunes. And then the Mendelssohn Overture in C major is that's one of my favorites. That's a historically important piece for band.
The Symphony Band members enjoyed playing the music just as much as the audience enjoyed listening to the music.
I really like Rocky Point Holiday. That was one of the last ones that we played before the grand finale. And that one's just really fun, and it's also a masterwork, and that's pretty much standard band repertoire for anyone, so that's a really big piece to play.
I'd have to say the Granger Colonial Song, which we played right after Prague. It just shows the great dynamics of music, going from really loud and really dissonant to really tonal and really soft.
My favorite piece would have been Colonial Song. I really enjoyed the saxophone solo in the beginning, and I really enjoyed the ending, and it was just a really beautiful piece to me.
The Troy University Symphony Band's next performance will be the Salute to Veterans concert on November 12th at 7 p.m. in Claudia Crosby Theater. Lloyd Price, Troy TrojanVision News.
And once again, the Symphony Band's next concert will be the Salute to Veterans concert Tuesday, November 12th at 7 p.m. in the Claudia Crosby Theater. Well, throughout the month of October, we are introducing you to some people in the Troy community with stories that might not necessarily make headlines, but are interesting nonetheless.
And you know, Justin, that's right, but today we're actually going to meet a girl who didn't let an injury stop her from doing the one thing she loves to do. Andrew Johnson has the story.
For most people around the country, dance is just a hobby. But for Troy University sophomore Sammy Lipinski, it is much more than that.
I've been dancing since I was 5, so now that'll be about 15 years.
Many people's dreams get put on hold, but fortunately for Sammy, she was able to tell a different story.
Last year, I slipped a disc in my lower lumbar region, which is lower back, and it disabled me from doing dance for a good 2 months. And then after lots of chiropractor visits and stretching and therapy on my own, I was able to come back and still be able to dance, and God has actually blessed me to be able to continue that in college.
Even after Lipinski's injuries, she still had many opportunities to do what she loves at an even higher level of competition in front of even larger crowds.
I was able to try out for TDRE last year and their fall showcase. I made it but was unable to continue with it because of dance and my back injury. And I just couldn't do all the flexibility things that they wanted me to do, and so that's what happened. I did join Alpha Gam, and I was able to continue and do the homecoming, step show, and all the things that they needed me to do for dance, so I was very blessed to be able to do that.
Although very busy in nursing school, Lipinski still finds time to make her way to the stage and win.
Won homecoming last year and step show and Greek week show, so that was a really fun year, especially as a freshman.
Lipinski's story is a prime example of why you should never give up. Andrew Johnson, Troy TrojanVision News.
And we will continue looking at Trojan profiles tomorrow with a look at Troy professor whose military experience put him on a path to teaching budding journalists.
And now taking a look at news from around the state, in Ozark, a police chief says one of his officers was justified in killing an 83-year-old man who had a gun. Ozark Police Chief Tony Spivey says a preliminary investigation cleared the officer in the shooting. The officer's name has not been released.
And coming out of Montgomery, a congressional study expected to be released later this month shows that 2 nuclear power plants in Alabama racked up 241 safety violations between 2000 and 2012. The Government Accountability Office report obtained by the Associated Press shows that Browns Ferry in Decatur was issued 141 safety violations during the time period. Plant Farley in Ashford was issued 100 violations during that time period as well.
In Birmingham, probation has been revoked for a youth evangelist accused of impersonating a police officer. Probation for 30-year-old Matt Pitt was revoked during a hearing yesterday in Shelby County. He's been ordered to serve the remaining 10 months of his sentence.
And still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the Trojan football team won't be in action this weekend, but the Trojans' next opponent hit the field last night, and Danielle Percival will be down with the keys to the Western Kentucky's game coming up in sports.
Now Danielle Percival joins us for a look at sports. So Danielle, the Trojan football team is not in action this week, but that gives the Trojans, a chance to sort of scope out their competition.
Well, that's right, Judson. The perfect opportunity came last night as their next opponent, Western Kentucky, was in action. We'll have a recap of that game coming up here in sports. But first off, got a little bit of a feature on a football player to look at first.
All right.
Well, the man, the myth, the legend, Eric Thomas, continuing to show he's got some of the best hands on the Trojan football team and possibly in the conference. Most Trojan fans know the skills Thomas has when it comes to touchdown receptions, and he's already showcased it several times this season. Maybe none more memorable than this game-winning touchdown with the defender on his back and only 7 seconds left on the clock against USA. But this weekend against Georgia State, Thomas was at it again. This time, though, it wasn't a spectacular reception that gave Thomas the spotlight, but rather what might be considered the stiff arm of the season as Thomas bowled over the Panthers safety Arrington Jordan. Looking at it again, that's a nice little welcome to the Sun Belt. And though Thomas doesn't have the chance to add to his already impressive weekend this season, he does say that the team will be using this week to get ready for the bye week.
Really not off week. We just don't play this weekend. We still got practice, and we still got to work hard to prepare for this Western team. They're a great football team. We just got to put together a good scheme, go out there and get the W.
And the Trojans won't be in action again until October 26th when they take on Western Kentucky. But speaking of the Hilltoppers, they were in action last night in a game that featured two teams left on Troy's schedule, Western Kentucky and Louisiana Lafayette. Bobby Petrino's squad entered at 1-1 in the league, while the Ragin' Cajuns were 1-0. But it was the Hilltoppers who struck first with a touchdown on a play-action pass early in the first quarter. And they would go up 10-0 and then look to make it 17-0 in all Hilltoppers on a 4th and goal on the 1-yard line. Brandon Dowdy rolls out under pressure, and that's never good. 99-yard pick six by Al Riles, and the Ragin' Cajuns had a 14-point swing. But it was just a sign of bad things to come for the Hilltoppers. Still in the second quarter, it's another 4th down play, and the gamble again is a little too costly. Receiver Mitchell Henry has it in his hands but gets stripped. ULL recovers and returns it to the Hilltoppers 35. We'll take one last look at it, slowing it down. It's in his hands for the first down, but the Ragin' Cajuns get the takeaway. And it was ULL who would go on to win this one 37-20, and they sit at the top of the conference at 2-0. The Hilltoppers had 4 turnovers in the game, and that could be an area the Trojan defense looks to expose when these two teams face off in 2 weeks. But moving back into Trojan athletics, 2 Trojan volleyball players were honored by the conference after their performances over the past weekend. Junior outside hitter Maria Zelinovic was named Offensive Player of the Week, and senior setter Alexandra Alexander earned Setter of the Week. Zelinovic has posted double-digit kills in 6 of 7 Sunbelt contests this season, and Alexander added her 12th and 13th double-double of the season this weekend in the Trojans' 2 victories. This was the first time for the program to have 2 award winners in the same week.
They both were very deserving of it, and one thing that we say when we have a Player of the Week is that the reason they got an award isn't just because of their accomplishment, and it was because of their entire team, had to give something up for them to be successful.
For both athletes, this was the first time in their career they received a weekly award from the conference. The Trojan soccer team is heading into their final 2 weeks of competition before the conference championships and looking to better their position after 2 close losses this past weekend. The Trojans fell to both Western Kentucky and Georgia State, losing by 1 goal in each contest. The losses dropped the Trojans to 2-3 in the Sun Belt, which puts them right in the middle of the pack. But head coach Chris Bentley says his team's determination can help them through the rest of the schedule.
You can see that our girls have a drive and a tenacity about them, that they want to win games. They're playing against the best in the conference, and they're not quitting. There's no mentality of that. It's more of a drive to want to be successful. So I think that's been a huge key to things.
The Trojans only have 1 test this weekend, and that will be at home against South Alabama on Sunday with first kick at 1 o'clock. So Courtney Judson, no football this weekend, still plenty of Trojan action in sports, but it's going to be tough for the football team coming up 2 weeks against Western Kentucky. It's a tough rest of the schedule. Yeah. Of course, seeing Louisiana Lafayette, they look pretty good too. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out in the conference contests.
Yeah. Well, this week we get a chance to relax. So, yeah.
That's right. Hopefully the team can rest up, kind of heal some injuries, and be able to get out there on the field and pick up a couple more wins.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Dan.
Thanks.